Hello and welcome everyone to Language Matters, Indigenous Voices. I'm your host, Ludmila Golovine, and today I'm honored to be speaking with Mr. Rakesh Kapoor, co-founder of Process 9 and a serial entrepreneur with over 35 years of experience at the intersection of technology and Indian languages. Rakesh's passion for bringing the internet and mobile services to underserved communities has helped advance language computing, digital publishing, and AI-driven innovations. Well, I can't wait to find out about your journey. And can you tell us more about how you started? What brought you uh, to this journey?
Oh, all, I guess, the circumstances or whatever you call it. I was brought up in a small village which barely had uh, a school, you know, and no college. And, from there, uh, you know, it's been a long journey for me to reach wherever I am. Nothing fancy. Uh, But there are a few things that happened. Uh, India is a large country, as you know, with now about 1.5 billion people. We are the largest, most populous country in the world. We have overtaken China last year. And one of the other things that's interesting about India is hundreds of different languages that our people speak. There are some major languages. I would say about 11 major languages, which cover about 80 to 85% of population. And I was in a school where the medium of instruction was one of those languages. Okay. And I fortunately did well in my school and landed up at one of the best engineering colleges in the country. The day I landed there, I found that the medium of instruction was English. I didn't know much English. I couldn't even form a sentence in that language. Okay. I had a very tough time. And that's when I realized that, look, ability to communicate in any language is so important. It's so important. You can't actually communicate with someone if two people don't talk the same language. That's where language nuance, germinated in my mind. And then onwards, of course, I got some other opportunities to actually get into the technology part of it and so on. Which of course I can talk about now or maybe a little later.
What are some of the challenges that you faced early on, and what are the first ideas that you were trying to implement?
Yes. So, when I did, I got a degree in computer science from my college. I was a good programmer, and when I got an opportunity to work in languages, that happened after the Macintosh was launched in 1984. Actually, I was in US and working in a city called Fort Worth, Dallas Fort Worth in Texas, and that's when Macintosh was launched. And I was a Unix programmer. Okay. I just couldn't, make out what the hell is happening. Why should somebody design a computer screen which has no prompt? You can't program it directly, and so on and so forth. I was very intrigued. came back to India, looked for after a few years, and then came back to find whether there is an opportunity to work on the Apple Macintosh. I did that, and I joined a company which was the Indian, partner of Apple. Okay, and that's when I got my opportunity to of course, I mean, with Apple Macintosh, we got an opportunity, and one of the first problems that I wanted to solve was put Indian languages on the Macintosh, which wasn't there. And when I did that, in fact, Unicode didn't exist. Okay. So we found roundabout ways, non-standard ways of implementing Indian languages. We kind of replicated ASCII, which represented the English text, to something called ISCII, which is Indian language standard encoding, but it didn't work so well until I ran into a person called Mark Davis. Okay. He, after my little interaction with him, he decided to come to India. He was designing Unicode at that time. So Mark Davis happens to be the founding, founder of Unicode. Okay. So he was intrigued. He wanted to come and include Indian languages in Unicode. He came and spent a week with me and some of my colleagues, where we helped him put Indian languages on the Unicode. Okay, and that's when the standardization, happened for Indian languages. We started growing, rather, the language content started multiplying because of all the benefits that we could get, due to Unicode. Until that time, you just had fonts and somebody else who makes fonts. Those two fonts are not same. If I create a Word file in one font, it would not read in the other font, and so on. Okay. The standard problem of non-standardization. With Unicode, the biggest difference that it made was interoperability. Okay. If I send anybody a Hindi, document, anybody in the world can read it.
That's amazing. So essentially, you put Indian languages on the map, on the digital map, and that's incredible. And that's really, really, really amazing. Well, you do you think there is money made, other financial opportunities? Because most of the large companies today, or most of the technology companies, focus on mainstream languages, right? And now the definition of mainstream languages has expanded to, we have hundreds of languages right now, over 100 languages in many cases that are digitally present. But the world speaks 7,000 languages. Are there financial opportunities for these companies to open to the other languages?
Absolutely. So when does adding languages for anybody who wants to do business, when does it become viable? Okay. There are just two factors when it comes to languages. One is how many people speak that language. Okay. So which means that all those people are consumers who can be reached using a language if you present your product, your information, your communication in that language. The second one is, do those people have money? Okay. So whatever you're selling, do they have money to buy your product or your service? That is what has changed for India in last couple of decades. Okay. In terms of economy, we are probably fourth or fifth largest economy in the world. Okay. We are larger economy than any of the European countries. And therefore, when any outsider, or for that matter, the large Indian companies, okay, they know that there are consumers with money who would be willing to buy the products or services if you can reach out to them in their language.
Well, it's kind of in a way a chicken and an egg problem, because there is a direct correlation between digital access and income per capita and financial prosperity of the people. And if we look around the world, most of the people who don't have digital access today, or have very limited digital access, are also living in much worse conditions. So in a way, you watched how that digital access transformed the ability for financial prosperity, right? So it's almost related in a way.
Absolutely. So it went hand in hand. The country realized that digital is the way forward. Today, there are 1 billion people who own a mobile phone in this country. Okay. The data or the bandwidth is cheapest in India, 1/4 the price of US. Okay. And it's available in abundance. These are the two factors which are changing the country, both in terms of economy, in terms of connectivity. Okay, and as you would see that because of those, today when you look at US, particularly the Bay Area, where all the technology companies are, how many Indians are heading Google, Microsoft, Adobe, IBM? Who are the CEOs? Indians.
Well, that's incredible transformation. So, and well, digital access is obviously critical, because today the economic crossroads, right? A lot of them are on the digital world, but we still have a lot of languages left behind, and especially in AI and machine learning, right? They change the way we interact with languages, but we have even fewer languages present there. I think 20 linguistic groups right now dominate that field. And what are the opportunities and risks do you see in using AI to preserve and then revitalize some of the lesser spoken languages?
Risk, none. Opportunities, plenty. So let me tell you what's happening. So when it comes to AI, we are an AI-driven company. Okay. GPT or the chat GPT came in 2022. Okay. We came out with our first NMT model in 2020. Okay. It was before OpenAI came up with their model. Of course, ours was not a large language model. We had a very specific model, but the same neural network transformer model, which we used for translating from between English and Indian languages, or amongst Indian languages, and so on. So this technology, what it has done is that it kind of multiplied the amount of content that's available in the country today. Okay. Prior to this, only way you could translate was human translators. There are plenty of those in India, of course, but obviously that's not scalable. Okay. I'll give you an example. The National Stock Exchange, that's like NASDAQ of India. They wanted to translate their website and launch it on a certain day. It was a very important day for them, and they gave us 15 days to do that in 11 languages. Okay, we did it in 15 days. The entire website was available, thousands of pages, very good quality, which using which they could launch it in 15 days time. Okay, that is the power that becomes available to all LSPs, all corporates, enterprises, small companies, big companies, everyone. They can now reach out to their customers and increase. So that's what I call the bottom of pyramid. Okay, the bottom of pyramid, where there are what, 1 billion people out of 1.5 billion, and how do you reach out to them? They are the ones who don't speak English, like I didn't, before. I mean, while I was growing up. Okay.
What are the some of the opinions that I hear when I travel around the world and when I talk to different people is, why don't we just teach everyone the major languages? Why don't we just why doesn't everybody speak French or Spanish or English or Hindu? So what is your opinion? Why do we even want to expand in all these languages?
Okay. Yes, it's a valid question to ask, but has been answered, hundreds of years back. Let me give you once again an example of India itself. Okay. Starting the year 1800, the British ruled India until 1947, so that's like 150 years. One major agenda they had was to teach everybody English, and told all Indians to forget about all other languages. When British left India, about 3% of the Indian population was speaking English. Okay. Japan, how many people, what percentage of people speak English? One of the largest economies in the world. Technology terms, China, Japan, Korea, they're at the forefront of IT, technology, or electronics manufacturing. What's the percentage of people who? What's the difficulty? There is something called mother tongue. Okay, the social change that switching to a different language that it requires will probably take 1,000 years. You can't wait.
And also, on the other side, people who do speak minority languages, they hear, they say that language is part of their identity. Language is part of who they are. Language is like their name, their family, part of their community. And so people don't want to give up their language.
Absolutely. It's like, you don't want to give up your culture.
And
so it's part of culture.
AI technology, how do you see AI technology can allow speakers of marginalized languages? And some languages are spoken by a lot of people, like Fulani, millions of people, Quiche, Kekchi, about 1.2 million speakers in the linguistic groups. But some languages have very few speakers. One of my favorite examples are the Sami people. They have about 3,000 speakers, and in one linguistic group, about 800 speakers. But they really care about their language. And so they're one of the most digitally advanced communities. They have created all of their own tools. They've created all of their own interfaces. And they do face a lot of challenges today because large tech does not consider this language commercially viable. and they have been advocating for what's called the open language solution, where large tech opens a thin linguistic layer to allow communities who create their own solutions to basically connect through APIs and allow the interface that they have created to work. But my question is, how do you see new AI technology allowing smaller languages to kind of leapfrog into the digital world? Or do you see this opportunity?
So once again, let me take a benefit of the history of my country. Okay. In India, there is a saying that the language changes every 40 kilometers. Okay, and then there are lots of kilometers in India. Okay, so in effect, if you go back in the history, let's say 500 years, uh, there were some 800 odd languages in India. As of today, there are about 120. Okay. Others have died down because there were too few users or speakers, and there were other languages which were very close to their language. Okay. Now, when you say, a very small group of people speaking certain language, there is a likelihood that they will actually, there is a lot of migration that is happening. Earlier, those languages were preserved because there was lack of transportation. Okay, you could not move around. Today, when you are able to move around, when you move around, you will actually assimilate. Okay, and some of those languages will actually die down. Okay, so today, from 800 to 120, and those 120 have also actually got down to about 22, which are recognized by constitutionally in the country. That will happen. Okay, but some of the bigger languages, like Hindi, that's spoken by about 700 million people. That's more than the entire Europe. Okay, that's not going anywhere. Okay, and there are others. So yes, some of these languages may die down or get merged with other languages, but the world will still have 100 plus languages. Even if I look, say, 100 years down the road. Okay. And who wants to, which company, if I'm selling something, do I want to wait for next 100 years so that people can understand my language? No way. I want to sell my product today, which means that I will rather adopt a technology which lets me communicate to a person in a different language. Why would I wait?
Do you see opportunities for entrepreneurs to move forward developing solutions for their languages without necessarily government or large tech support? I mean, you mentor a lot of entrepreneurs. Do you see opportunities for somebody to say, I want to put my language on the map and I can make it happen?
Absolutely. The government is out anyway. Government has other things to do. Let them do it. It's the industry. It's going to be driven by economy. It's going to be driven by ease of transportation, like I said, which makes the goods move and so on. Now, that is going to drive the technology adoption, amongst other languages. Now, for example, until the Gen AI or the new transformer or neural network technology came in, okay, translation was so much difficult. Today, it is not. There is abundance of content available across a dozen plus Indian languages. How does that happen? Because people saw value in doing that. We saw value. There are many other companies who saw value. Okay. Uh, ChatGPT, OpenAI today is able to support all, several Indian languages quite well. Okay. Llama does that from Meta, so on, because they want to sell their product. Okay, so they will adopt wherever they see that there is a large number of people who can be reached with a certain language. They will come and invest their money. At the same time, today, the technology is at a place where a company like us, we're not a very large company, okay, we know that we can develop an Indian language model, okay, and we are in the process of doing that. Okay, it doesn't take $100 million to do that like OpenAI did. Today, DeepSeek has already said that done it with $5 million. Okay, I know that I can do it with $1 million. Sam Altman didn't like when somebody in India said so. He's in India right now, actually. and then we can do it for $1 billion.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. How can a robust startup ecosystem contribute to the growth and preservation of indigenous languages and Indian languages? Small startups.
It is the small startups which actually take bigger bets. Okay. Large companies don't. Okay. The new technology, it all comes from these startups. Okay. And India, in the last 10 years, the government is encouraging startups. We have more than 100,000 startups in the country. These are the companies who are going to think of, these are, created by young people, okay, and people who can still take a lot of risk. Okay, IBM doesn't take risk, Microsoft doesn't take risk. Okay, they have to look up to small companies like OpenAI, which was a startup 5 years ago. Okay, they are the ones who are going to take risk, think of hairy, audacious goals, do that. Of course, it's another matter that once they reach their goal, some large company is going to acquire them and use that technology. But the technology is going to come from them. And this is the technology which is going to bridge all the gaps which are there today. There was a time when I was coming into the software industry, most companies just made accounting systems or banking systems and so on, because that's where the money was. Okay. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make language technologies. Everybody thought I was an idiot. There is no money to be made there. Okay. I said, all right, I may not make too much of money, but I'll make a difference to a lot of lives, which I think I have.
Well, putting Indian languages on the map, on the digital map, is a transformational contribution. So it's incredible. Well, finally, for those inspired by your work who want to develop or invest in language technology solutions, what advice would you offer them to ensure both commercial success and meaningful social impact?
See, there are, I would say there are two kinds of people who are present in the language industry. Okay. One is the technology developers, and the others are the companies that are LSPs today. Okay. The two of them have to do two different things. Okay. When it comes to LSPs, which I actually am reaching out to more and more of them today, I said that, look, do 4 steps. What are those 4 steps? First, don't fight the technology, understand the technology, befriend the technology. Number 2, adopt the technology. Once you've understood what that technology can do for you and your customers, adopt it. Okay. Adopt that technology. And then not only that, as the next step, you just adopt that technology, but use that technology to enhance your services, add value to whatever you were doing before, so that you can do a lot more. You can have, you can address a much bigger customer set of customers and so on. And then once you have achieved that, you have actually enhanced or added value to your customers. Now spread your knowledge so that more and more people, more and more LSPs can benefit from your knowledge. When it comes to the second is the technology developers. Okay, technology developers in the language space particularly, they have to think of more hairy goals. Right? Today, we think one of the things that everybody says that you can communicate now. Not that's not an issue anymore. But when the AI speaks, there is no emotion. Okay, there are no language nuances. Okay. Well, they will come. Somebody will do it. Okay. You want to create an AI model which speaks like Shakespeare. Okay, nobody speaks like Shakespeare anymore. Okay. You can make a model to do that. You can you make a model which actually understands your emotion when you're speaking and then interprets those emotions or your sensitivities. How do you make it? Of course you can make it. Is it there today? No, it's not there today. Okay, so there are always next things that you can do. I had a customer who was talking to me yesterday. Look, what's missing is, when I have a voice bot, and when my bot makes a call, the customer says, he's speaking. Customer is speaking in grunts. Okay. Now my AI model can't understand grunts. He said, yes, soon it will.
There's a lot of those verbal, nonverbal communications, and they're learning. So, well, that's incredible. And I want to thank you for your contribution to the world, for your contribution to the Indian language speakers, very diverse, very large group. And we'll look forward to new things to come. And
it's my pleasure. My pleasure talking to you. These are not the topics which I talk to typically in the industry forums, but yes, language technology is something that I love. I'm a language technology enthusiast, or somebody who is passionate about that, and I love talking about it as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.